It's
jam sort of.
It's generally the way it's gone, I guess, over the past couple of years. Sometimes it would be more that we would work on stuff together, but it's worked out best generally. I think our strongest material has come from when she has a strong framework that she's working with and a lyrical vision.
Yeah.
And then when she goes through about 2 or 3 drafts of that, she'll bring it to me and say, I've got like the first building blocks, let's go to work. And that's when it goes down to the rehearsal space and we start batting around ideas, and I'll sort of hear what she's implying with the kind of mood of it and where the intensity is coming from, and that's kind of where I come in and build it and sharpen it up and give it some more shape. And then from there we try to find the kind of weird musical quirks or kind of like barbs in it that go like, oh, like that's something we can, what was that? Pull the microscope out and say like, oh, what's inside this? Coin Operative Boy is an example of that. That was just sort of a mistake one day, where the skipping thing came out, where we played it, somebody made a mistake and we went, that's great, perfect, make it a skip, or whatever, or the introduction to Half a Jack came about, because out of a who knows what, just carrying on, and you get a certain musical idea, and so you build the intro longer, and certain things like that we try to really let it blossom. But a third element that I think people don't really realize is when we get to actually perform it for people, having that incentive to turn people on through that kind of performance actually develops the songs in a hugely distinctive way that just being in the practice room could never achieve. And that's what we tried to do with Yes, Virginia, is we toured on a lot of that material and let it grow out of like the live situation, as opposed to just kind of rehearsing them to death in a small space. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like the 3 main chunks. And who knows how it'll be in the future? Maybe it'll work on a different level too. But in general, it's stuck to that like from the first night that we met, sort of like, play me what you got. Okay, I hear this. Great, let's go.
And you go with that.
Well, I mean, it's funny because it's I think again just another kind of color to draw on, and another way that I can relate to a certain emphatic emotion that Amanda might be wanting to put into the lyric, or it's just another tool to draw on. I never thought that I would be able to play with the kind of dynamic or intensity that I do now, or even use like the double bass drum pedal or something like this. All stuff that I sort of, this guy's like the piano drum duo. But I found that the less limits I put on myself, and the more I incorporated what was truly a part of me, the more character it gave the sound, the more liberated I felt, the more it added to the music. And it was the same for Amanda as well. Stylistically, we always wanted to incorporate as much as we possibly could, that when it felt real, never to make anything superfluous, but just to keep it, say like, all right, well, what do we hear? What would we naturally go for? What's turning us on? If that's true and pure, add it in. So and metal is, one part of it. I definitely that's got a certain kind of aggression to it. But also there's a certain kind of element that's in great jazz music, John Coltrane, and like hardcore punk, classical music. Music of all different genres have that kind of darkness to them. Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's taking that and knowing how to color it in the right places. Other than music, not really. I sort of was reading about different painters for a while, or certain things like that, but not really. I find I spend most of my time listening to music, and wanting to find different ways where I can kind of develop my playing and certain things like that. Certainly one of the largest factors which guides my musical taste is what I'm looking to learn and apply in my own playing. So whether it's listening to classical music and thinking about dynamics, or sort of orchestration and things like that, or different kind of moods and subtleties listening to jazz, or a certain kind of technical thing that I might get from listening to metal or progressive kind of stuff or something like that. It's generally all filters into the pot of like, how can I then apply it through another like creative experiences like that. But that's great, because that's led me to listen to a huge wide variety of different music and different styles and things. the record label thing has never really been an issue.
Yeah.
It was kind of comforting in a way, and a blessing in a sense, that Roadrunner took to us the way that they did. We had been appealing to a lot of smaller indie labels that we felt that we fit in better with, but each one of them sort of went, Dresden Doll, mime, like, thanks but no thanks, we don't do goth bands. All of the labels we felt would be like our kindred, we're just like, get this crap out of here. But Roadrunner was like, we really think what you guys is doing is like very special and really crazy. The president of the label is going absolutely nuts. And we thought, well, great. But then again, that is totally, you know,
part of the experiment.
Yeah, well, it's like totally in line with the way that we were thinking that, like, descriptions, labels, genre aside, if people believe in it, then it's valid, and that's what you go for. You don't go for some kind of like box to go, and you're going, we're like an indie goth band. Okay, find an indie goth label. You go for someone who gives a shit and wants to push your music and believes in it. And Roadrunner wound up actually having like more kind of like clout and better distribution than we would have gotten through some, you know, smaller label anyway. It really, I think, gave us a huge boost in terms of our visibility and the chances that we got and stuff. So it wound up being great, and great people to work with too. I thought about this again, and to expand on it, I have guilty pleasure number one would probably be live Iron Maiden recordings. Definitely. I've always been a huge fan of them ever since when I was like probably 8 years old and I first heard Live After Death. I was like, oh, my band. Definitely like a lot of the old 80s metal, old, you know, Ozzy, Guns N' Roses, that kind of stuff. Old, you know, Bon Jovi songs. One of my one of my favorite pastimes when I go back up to the woods in New Hampshire with like old friends is to like do the campfire side jams and, you know, pull out every single old, you know, 80s power ballad and, you know, ridiculous song that we can possibly think of, and it will just go on for hours, but it's great. You know, it was such a huge part of my growing up. So, but yeah, I think that's certainly one of them. The 80s metal will never die in my heart. There's slight cultural differences, but overall, our Dolls family has the same qualities. They're all very open-minded, really very sweet, thoughtful, sensitive, intelligent, creative people. I mean, it's just this kind of thing that has spread definitely throughout the kind of web community. But I think also something that might be inherent in the fact that the band's growth has been a lot through word of mouth. And that people who were drawn to particular qualities of the band went to other people who would appreciate those qualities, and so it's kept it very, very consistent, I think, amongst the kind of people that are into it. People who are generally looking for something different, and, you know, looking for a very sort of like all-inclusive kind of experience in that, and you know, and who appreciate sort of like drama and humor and you know, ridiculousness, things like that. Just like as Amanda and I do too. It's pretty cool. The Dolls tattoo. It's good. Well, I mean, it's great. I mean, again, too, tattoos are it's a way to express yourself, and I mean, I certainly can relate. I have definitely contemplated getting band tattoos in my day, and have plenty of friends who've got them and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's great. It's cool. If people want to decorate their parties with something like that, or make a painting, or write a song, or whatever the hell, it's cool. It's their choice. It's been fun. I think it's really funny too, seeing like certain friends too, in the like whatever particular designs they'll get and things like that. But I haven't seen any totally over the top ones. I've seen some like Ramones tattoos or like back pieces that will cover people's entire backs. That would be quite something, I think, to see somebody.